This is Floating in Dreams. This is my makeup collection and inventory part 2. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is part 2 of my makeup collection inventory, where I go through my entire makeup collection, do some swatches for you so I can prepare for my declutters. I like to do this once a year where I sort of take stock of everything I have, like sort of go through things already, find out whether things have expired on me, if things are like, ooh. So I know my thoughts going into declutter so I can keep those short and snappy. So I can really make decisions on like, okay, this needs to go, this needs to go, this I'm gonna keep. I haven't been buying as much makeup in the past year and a half as I have in other years. So there isn't as much like overflow of products like previously. My makeup, like I would not be able to film this video like this because I had to do like a flat lay because there was so much. I only have a bit of overflow in bronzers and a little bit here in powder blush, and that's it. That's it. Everything else is still fine. I can still see everything, etc., etc. So we're gonna start with the bronzers first, then we'll do highlights, and then we'll do the blushes over here. I am going to be pulling this container out of the drawer in a sec, and when I've shown you all of my bronzers, and just move things up so that I can keep things in the center of the video and I don't block the light that's coming from that direction. So there's that. I'll do some swatches here and there, but if I forget to swatch something, I do have reviews up for most of these products. I'll make sure to link you to some of the product categories that I have up on my blog because most of these reviews happened over there. I've been making makeup content for more than 15 years. This collection has gone through so many renditions over the years. So while this may look like a lot of product, some of these things have been with me for absolute ages. So don't think that you need to have this much makeup or that this is a normal amount. If I didn't do this online thing, I wouldn't have this much. I can tell you that. So let's just get to these bronzers here. I have very fair skin, as you can see, so bronzer is quite a challenging category for me. Not gonna lie, it takes me some time to find good bronzers. I have several that I really like, but I do think that this needs a little bit of narrowing down, not just because there is overflow. There always is going to be at some point. I don't have, as you can see, there is this container here that blocks like half of the thing, so I could very easily move that somewhere else and I'd have more space, but I don't need more space for bronzer because I have my favorites. This is the Becca in Bali Sands. This is, of course, very much discontinued. I hit pan on it, I think, in 2024, and I've been using it loads in 2025 as well. As you can see, love it. And then in 2025, I finally hit pan on my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzer in the sun. You can look at that dent and a nice little bit of pan there. My other favorite bronzer that you can sadly no longer get is the Flawless Fusion in shade 1. This I think I may be able to hit pan on in 2026. In this lighting you can see there's a nice big dent here in the middle. Very excited about that, but shade 1, I mean, it's my favorite because it's such a light shade. This is so good for me in the winter time, but they came out with, this is a little bit stuck. Is this, yeah. This is shade 8. They do this now, and from what I could tell online, this looked to be like the more cool toned option of what they do now. They just changed the shades, but they still do it. These are them side by side, so this looks a fair bit darker, but I do feel, because this is a very light textured powder, right? You don't need a lot for it to work. But you can see how cool toned that is. Like on some people, this is going to turn green. And I do feel that shade 8 and shade 1 are actually really close. So whether I use 1 or 8, it doesn't really matter. But when I saw that they had reformulated this, or at least changed some of the shades, I feel this is also almost like a bit more pink than this is. Like this is a bit more yellow, this is a bit more pink. So shade 8 works for me really well as well, but I get a similar look out of these. But I'll probably try to hit pan on this first. I only bought this one for the comparison, so I could let you know whether any of these new shades are any similar to shade 1, because so many of you were telling me that you could no longer find shade 1. It took them a couple of months to, after this had already been discontinued, to come out with the new shades, but I like this. This is a good update from Kiko for sure. I have one more. Kiko bronzer. This is the Radiant, no? Yeah, Radiant Touch in 101. This is far darker. Let me show you. This is shade 8, which is already a little bit darker than shade 1. And you can see that this has more red to it, almost more orange. This I think of, and this also has a bit of a shimmer to it actually. But I feel like this is my like summer shade, and then 8 or 1 is going to be my winter shade. So I can make this work. You can, but I do think that now that I have shade 8, I probably don't need this anymore. Like you can see that this is just a little bit more red. I mean, it's fine. An oldie but a goodie that I decided to use again a couple of times in December, the Holiday Skin from Catrice. They discontinued this shade, which is Summer in the City, really, really quickly. And that made me really sad because it was such a good light tone bronzer from Catrice. But as you will see in a sec, Catrice has been killing it when it comes to fair tone bronzers in more recent years. So this Holiday Skin one, it was discontinued like 2 or 3 years ago. I probably don't need it anymore. And the formula, it's sort of that like Physicians Formula butter bronzer kind of texture. It's quite like buttery, and it's also not my favorite. Like something like this, it's far more lightweight and a little bit easier to use. Another favorite of mine is the Dior one. This has the longest name. The Dior Forever Natural Bronze Bronzer, Powder Bronzer for Face. That's the full name. In shade 10 bronze. And this I've always loved because this is a little bit more pinky toned. I've used this enough where the embossing is completely gone, and you can see, again with this one, you can see the dent. We love a dent. I'll pop it here. So there is the Dior one. I really like that one. And it's a little bit more lightweight than either one of these two. So I would go for something like the Dior over the Kiko and the Catrice one, I'm sure. So I definitely think there can be fewer bronzers here. This butter-like bronze and contour for Catrice is something they've done more recently. And this is all right. I mean, the bronzer is perhaps a little bit too orange. The contour, I love using contours as bronzers sometimes if a brand doesn't really do good bronzers. So these are good, but you can see like the shades just, it's not quite it, especially because they can do something this light. The Soft Touch bronzer from Essence. This is the Butter Bronzer in Whipped Buttercup, shade 10. This is nice, but I thought this was going to be a cream, so it kind of threw me for a loop for that reason. And it does have this like cream to powder sort of formula. The shade is okay, but I don't like how this is being picked up. It's so sheer. It's like I need to keep building this just to get it to show up. No. Something that I need a very light hand with is the Buttermelt Bronzer from NYX. This is All Butted Up. And I didn't go with shade 1 because it was a little bit too yellow. This is a slightly more reddish pink tone. And this is intense. But I prefer using a light hand than having to build something up for days. And this, I just really like the undertone of the NYX. It's just a little bit different. You can see it has this like peachy pink sort of vibe to it. I like it. Especially if I do want to add like true warmth in like the summertime. This works really well for me. I can't wear it in the wintertime though. The V Shading by Peri Para. This is in Almond Brown. Yeah. This is a K-Beauty product, and I keep this in so I can always do a full face of K-Beauty. But K-Beauty doesn't do bronzer. Like, it's just not really a thing within a lot of Asian makeup trends, you could say. I feel like it's kind of changing, but like if they do anything that resembles a bronzer, it's going to be some sort of like contoury kind of shade. But this, I think I've seen like enough of this product. I only keep it around for doing K-Beauty videos, and that's the only reason it's there. I might as well just use something that's in my Shop My Stash when I do want to film something with K-Beauty. My holy grail, they brought it back. This product, oh, this takes me back. This is the Solar Powder Bronzer by Soap & Glory. I hit pan on this on the first version I owned of this product. Then it was discontinued, and I was afraid of using it because in the old version, the two shades you get aren't the same formula. The darker one was a little bit of a stiffer formula. It was more difficult to pick up. And the lighter one was a little bit more powdery and easier to pick up. So I hit pan on the light shade, but not on the deep shade. So I couldn't use it up because only the deep shade didn't go with my skin tone. They've reformulated, they've repackaged it. It used to be really thick. And they've actually now have a powder that is the same formula throughout. So I was so stoked when I found this on a trip to London. I was like, oh, this is the thing I've been lusting after all my life. It's a little bit yellow toned for me for right now, but this is such a throwback, and I still love this. It still looks great on me. It's better for me in the spring season than it is any time of year though. And another oldie but a goodie, you can see how much I've loved this. This is the Ombre skin glazing bronzer thing from Nabla in the shade Ombre. That's what I was gonna say. You can see how much I love it. This is a gel to powder formula. I mean, this used to be like flat. Like, can you see? I'm not sure if this shows up, but this used to be like just a flat product, and now there's this huge dip, like only the corners are still sticking out. I do have to like use my finger to clean it because this looks like it's got hard pan, but it actually doesn't. But it could use a scrape down perhaps because it is an older product, and that just happens with some older products sometimes, is that you need to like scrape it down or like reactivate it in some way. And I did have this in a Shop My Stash towards the end of 2025. I'm just trying to build up the swatch here. This looks very orange now because I'm building it up so much, but this actually works really well for me as well. It's pretty similar to the solar powder, I feel. And then I have two more things that are luxury. I have quite a lot of like drugstore bronzers. For some reason, I really like them. The Makeup by Mario, this is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Light. Huge dent in mine. I keep thinking I'm gonna hit pan on this and then I don't. Oh well. Where to put it? I'll put it here. Really nice, lightweight. It's a cream formula, but really pretty on. And Pat McGrath Labs, this is the Divine Bronzer in the shade Naked Desire. Yep, Naked Desire, and this is very, very light. So this is why I know I can sort of like that holiday skin thing from Catrice. Very similar shade to the Pat McGrath. This is very, very light though. I'll pop it here. Very light, but really pretty, very smooth powder, really lovely formula. So I definitely have narrowed this down a little bit more for myself. Like my brain, I'm like, oh, this could probably go, this could probably go. I probably don't need this because I now have this. This is the evolution of a makeup collection happening in real time, you could say. And finally, this little cubby holds all of my cream and liquid bronzers because that's another category that we have. In a cream bronzer, this is one of my favorites. I traveled with this to London. This is the Kiko Contour Stick. This is what I mean with sometimes a contour works better for me as a bronzer, because let's be real here, that's not a contour shade on me. This is shade 200. I believe it's called Hazelnut. Kiko doesn't put the shade name, but only the number on their packaging, so that's why I never know. So you can see that this looks quite intense if it's a full-on swatch. See, this is why I don't love swatches in every single video, because this full on, it really doesn't show you what it can do. You really need to see this on the face. And this is great. And if I love traveling with a product, then I know it's a good one, because if I trust something enough to pack it in a travel makeup bag where I want fuss-free, easy-to-use makeup, it's just lovely. And you guys actually put me onto that. I should have not removed the swatch of the Kiko, but I'll swatch it again in a sec. Rare Beauty in Power Boost is a lovely one. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in 10 lines. What's this called again? Feeling Shady. 10 lines is the Catrice one. And this is a Sydney Grace product. This is in Cinnamon Sugar Cookie. And this was the first time, I believe Esther gifted me this. This was the first time where I tried a cream product by Sydney Grace and I remotely felt like the shade was cool toned enough for me. Sydney Grace is really good at doing light tones and deeper tones. They're not really good at doing undertones. So this actually has a little bit of pink in. I like that. It's good. Let's do the Rare Beauty next to it. Again, very full on. And I actually feel, let me wipe my fingers. I'll swatch the Kiko next to it because these are super similar. Like whether I use the Kiko or the Rare Beauty, doesn't make much of a difference. I've said it many times before, Kiko is a brand that is made in Italy. They are an Italian brand, and a lot of luxury brands such as Rare Beauty, but also Hourglass and stuff, it's all made in Italy, you guys. So if you buy Kiko, you can very often get the same sort of thing for less money. And finally, the e.l.f. This is very gray toned, so I'm not sure what to do with this. This is more of a contour for me. And I don't reach for it. And I don't love the putty formula. Like, I tried the putty primer years ago, but this is just a little bit drying for my skin. It feels super dry as well. It is nice and light, but I actually have something in the liquids that has a similar shade that I like better. Shall we get to that thing I like better? It's this from Catrice. It's the Melted Sun Liquid Bronzer in the shade Tan Lines. This is absolutely amazing. It's very cool toned. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. And it looks super gray in the like in the tube, but I feel when you use it on your face, it's not that gray. It definitely has more like a taupey brown vibe. Similarly, we have Swept. This is by the Cloud Paint Liquid Bronzer by Glossier. This is darker, but as I feel, like this is why I don't love swatching myself, because it always gets so messy, because that was already too much. This is a deeper shade, but this was a little bit more neutral compared to the lightest shade they had that was very yellow. And I feel like a little goes a long way with the Glossier. But you can see, compared to the Catrice, how much warmth this has. Don't think it's orange, because this is essentially gray on some people. But if you do need a little bit of warmth, the Glossier is really pretty, and you can see that it shears out really well. So something that I was curious after is how the Catrice compares to the Rare Beauty. So this is the Rare Beauty Liquid Contour in the shade Gentle. This was promoted as being super cool toned when it came out, and then everybody who had a cool undertone was like, if you have a warm undertone, if you have a warm undertone, this is going to be cool toned. But for some people with cool undertones, things cannot look that cool toned, because I feel like everything is tested on people with warm skin tones. Again, I'm not sure if this is too much. It is. It is too much. See, compared to the Catrice, I mean, the Rare Beauty is beautiful, but it does have quite a bit of red compared to the Catrice. Like this, so far, still the most cool tone thing I have. I have this one from Essence. This is the Baby Got Bronze in Sweet Shadow. But I don't, it has the puffy applicator. Now, if you've been with me, you know I don't like these. They're messy, and especially these ones from Essence and Catrice, they just have a hole in, and then it sort of like just goes everywhere. I don't love it. Like, it's not as effective as the ones from Charlotte Tilbury, where you can actually use the puff. So here is what the Essence looks like, and that's nicely gray toned as well. So here's a case of the drugstore does it better. I would probably keep the Catrice over the Essence if I really had to choose, because I don't like the applicator on the Essence. And then I really wanted to try a product that had this style applicator as this one from the Emma Roberts and Kiko Milano collection. This is in shade 2. And it is one of those things. I think She Glam did it first, but I don't really try She Glam because that's not how I live my life. But this, it's so dark. It's so dark. This is a little too much. And I felt that the applicator actually it wasn't helpful at all. because it kind of just like attaches to that part of your skin, and because it is liquid, it does dry really quickly. Like this, I can't even blend it out. So that was a bit of a fail. But yeah, these are all of the liquid bronzers. Moving on then to highlighters. So I have powder highlighters here. There's a little bit of overflow from my liquid highlighters because for some reason my liquid and cream highlighters are just all over the place, which, you know, is fun. And with highlighter, I do just tend to go with whatever highlighter I feel goes best with my looks for that season. So I always tend to be a little bit mindful of what I select when it comes to highlighters. But you'll see, I have a couple of favorites that I've hit pan on that I've had for years that I really love. In the wintertime, I love reaching for my Fenty Beauty in How Many Carats. I just have a mini size because I wasn't sure how much I'd use this, but as you can see, I use it. And this I reach for every year around the festive season because I just feel that this glittery sort of thing is so pretty in low lighting situations. So that's why I reach for that. Also, previously in my Shop My Stash was the Becca in Vanilla Quartz. As you can see, I'm not sure you can see, but I've got a big dent in that. These Becca highlighters though, you only need a little bit. So I wish these were smaller. Like if they had been smaller, you would actually be able to get through them. And this is a really pretty highlighter as well. It's more of like a champagne gold, you could say. And then we have the Lavender Saison Nuancer. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be blush or a highlight. I've been using it as highlight. This is an N2. Picked this up when I was in Japan just to try a Japanese brand because I haven't tried much Saison or can make, as you'll see in a sec. But this is pretty, but I feel I have other lavender leaning highlightery shades that I feel just work so much better. Shall we talk about set favorites? This is the Kiko Glow Fusion in shade 1. I keep reaching for this. I've had this for years. I remember picking this up on a trip to Italy in 2016, 2017. Like I've had this for a long time, but it's still going strong. It's this really nice, subtle, sort of golden champagne shade as well. I just love a very subtle gold champagne. And another I've hit pan on is the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Highlighter in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. These products have seen some usage, you could say. I'll pop them here. And what I wanted from Fenty was like a marriage of these two, because sometimes I find lightning dust, fire crystal too intense and lightning dust too subtle. And then they came out with the Demi Glow. This is in Pretty Pearls. This is one of my more recent purchases when it comes to highlights. And this is exactly that marriage between the two. It's sort of like the soft focus finish of lightning dust and the shine of fire crystal. So they finally did what I wanted it to be. Speaking of a lavender shade, Aura by Urban Decay. This is years old as well. I don't remember when this was discontinued, but this still feels and looks great. You know, if I want to go for that lavender shade, I could. And this is a little bit more of a highlight. It's just like a pinky purpley highlight. Like the other one is a bit more purple. So that's why I thought it was blush. But then when I was using it, I was like, this is probably better as a highlight. This is another sort of like bluey lavender. This is by Fui. This is their glitter whatever. This just has Japanese on it. This is shade 12, I believe. But it's really pretty. It's pretty glittery. It's sort of like the powder version of the Fenty. But it's actually really nice. It's a little bit more blue toned compared to the Urban Decay. The Urban Decay is a little bit more pink. This is a bit more blue lavender, but I like it. The Space Glam highlighter from Catrice. I hope I can showcase this in this lighting that we're having today. It's not the brightest weather, but this is really pretty. It's a multi-chrome highlighter. I don't know if they still do this though. This may have been discontinued, but here it is on my finger. I'm not sure if you can see the shift. I'll swatch it here. This is why I'm swatching it now, because this is an area of my hand I will be able to move around quite easily. So hopefully you can see the shift. of how pretty this is. It's essentially pinky purple, but it shifts to gold peach. And then it has, in some lighting, it has a touch of green to it. Really pretty, very subtle. I also have the multi-chrome highlighters from Kaleidos, but those are so intense, I cannot use them on my cheeks. It just looks too strong because it has such a impactful, like darkness to it, like when it doesn't hit the light, whereas this one, no matter how the light hits it, it's just shine in different colors. It's really pretty. The drugstore did it better. Do I have more lavender things? I do. I have one more lavender thing. This is Prismatic Amethyst from Becca. I used to have more of these Becca highlighters, but I've decluttered the ones that weren't as unique over time. But like a good lavender highlighter is such a hard thing to come by, and this has been my favorite. Like, I like the Fui, but the Urban Decay as well is a bit more subtle. This is a little bit more highlightery. There was a stray brush in there, and this one was hiding in the blushes. It's a good thing that I'm like organizing this, right? This is by Rare Beauty. This is in the shade Enlighten, and it's another one of those like champagne-y, sort of white, gold-leaning things. These are really soft. You have to be very careful with them, but it's so pretty. It's really, really, like, it's something different. I also love this really subtle peach tone from Hourglass. This is the Iridescent Strobe Light in iridescent, no, just iridescent? Iridescent Strobe Light, that's what it's called, the strobe lighting powder. And you can see this used to have a little dome, and the dome is flat because I like it so much. And this, in terms of amount of highlight, it's not as impactful as the Rare Beauty. It's a little softer, but as you can see, it's still there. Another great, more subtle highlight is this Catrice thing. This is the Glow Lover in Blooming Hibiscus. No, Glowing Peony. Blooming Hibiscus is the blush. I sometimes mess up the names. I do apologize. This is really pretty. It's like this pinky, soft focus, like the pink tone version of the Kiko one I love so much. I have some more peachy tones because for a while there I really enjoyed peach toned highlighters, and this is like the thing I've kept around. This is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlighter in the shade Privilege. Yes, got that one right on the first try. So this is very similar to that bronzer, but then in the highlight version. But it's the same sort of formula. I don't wear this a lot anymore, but in the summertime I feel I can get away with something like that. Lighten Up Highlighter by Kruidvat. This is a Dutch drugstore name brand. This is in Champagne Pelican. This is really pretty. It's that perfect sort of white gold highlight that I like so much. I'll pop it there. Right there. And my Prism highlighter by Clio. Oh, this is in Fairy Pink. I repurchased this. I had it, decluttered it, and then missed it in my collection. So guess what? I already know this is not going anywhere. Is this shade wholly unique though within all of the highlighters I have? No. It's a pink to gold. And I have another pink to gold, which is why I ended up decluttering this. But this formula, there's just something about it, it makes me love it. And it's just quite intense, but still subtle at the same time, which I enjoy. What is unique is my Mars Melter from Kaleidos. This is the old version of this product. As you can see, it looks white. But when you swatch it, it has a magenta flash, but actually because of that white base, it looks translucent on the cheeks. So this is really pretty with very pink toned blushes and stuff. It is a little bit more different compared to everything else I have. They no longer do this though. They no longer do this Mars Melter. The new one has a peachy undertone, and that's why this one works better for my fair skin. So that's why I've always hung on to it. Some Essence and Catrice things. The Soft Touch was released in 2025, and I like it okay, but it's a bit like with the bronzer. I feel this wasn't easy to pick up with a brush, And it's just a little bit too gold heavy. I don't love a very strong yellow tone gold on my skin tone, so I didn't love it for that reason. An oldie buddy goodie, the More Than Glow highlighter by Catrice in the shade Ultimate Platinum Gaze. And you can see I've used this a lot, but this is sort of like old school, bam in your face level of highlight. So like this is very intense. It's sort of giving Ofra back in like 2016 kind of highlight, which I don't always go for, but it's good to have something that has that. I feel like highlighter is going to make a comeback very soon. Aura Glam from Catrice, this was launched in 2015. And this is pretty, but I don't love this texture. I just really don't enjoy the texture, the feel of it when you touch it. It is mainly transparent, as you can see, and then it just has this glass-like sort of finish. A very pretty pink-toned highlighter by Dior. This is the Dior Forever Couture Luminizer in Pink Glow. I do think they no longer do this because this has been reformulated, I feel. I use highlighter like always in the same point in the pan, it seems. So that's why you can see that dent there. Love that Dior thing. I'll pop it here. Not sure if there was anything there yet, but here is Pink Glow from Dior. Really pretty, nicely cool tone, but without it being too silver or white. And now we just have a few powder highlighters left. I have some Odin's Eye that were gifted to me by Esther. These weren't going to work for her, and I'm not sure yet what to do with these. I haven't tested them out on my cheeks yet. They seem to have some sort of overspray. Not sure I love that. This is a very pink toned one. This is the Solomona Sunlight Love Blusher in Star Legend. So she gave these to me because she knew these wouldn't work for her. But these are intense. Like, they're so shiny and pretty. But these are essentially eyeshadow for me. But this does have a really nice silvery flash. But you can see, like, when I turn my hand away that there's this darkness where I swatch it, and I don't love it when highlighters do that. And then she gifted me another one. This is the Luminous Highlighter in Subtle Radiance. I believe this is like blue. It's like a minty blue. This is why I haven't picked up that NYX Buttermelt highlighter yet, because I feel like that minty shade that's really appealing to me is essentially like the same thing. So I may just have to try this first. And this is more like a silvery blue green. So I do like these. I think the blue one would work better for me because it doesn't have that darkness. But I love how that pink, like, it looks so gold in the pan, but then it has this really beautiful, like, silvery flash to it. I can see why she gifted these to me. But those may be a little bit too much for what I like in a highlighter. I haven't decided yet what to do with those. Kiko, this is the Glitter Baked Highlighter. And this is essentially the Dior one, but with glitter. It's really pretty, but it's got a more subtle base to it. And then we have, the Ultimate Glow Highlighter in shade 2. And this is another remnant of my love for peach toned highlighters. This is really pretty. But this is one where I'm like, what do I do with this? Because I have the Nabla, and if I go for a peach toned highlighter, I would go for the Nabla and not this. I feel like this just has too much of an orange base to it almost. Like you can see it when it's not hitting the light, that it just looks orange. Melt Stargazer? No, Morning Star. That's what it's called. I don't know if they still do these, but these are really pretty. But it's essentially like the Kruidvat highlighter I already showed you. It's like a very similar idea, but I do feel like a little bit peachy gold. Like, this is really pretty. It's more unique as well compared to other things I have. It doesn't have too much of a darker cast, and then when the light hits it, you get peachy gold, sort of white. Like so many of these highlights that they used to do, these brands, were essentially warm toned. So finding good cool toned highlighters can be tough. 2 MAC Extra Dimension highlighters in Show Gold and Double Gleam. I reach for Double Gleam a little bit more nowadays, but it's again, that sort of champagne gold sort of thing. Show Gold is very similar to the Clio Prism I've shown you. You can see how much I've used that. It has a huge dent. And I love this one. I really, really do. So here's them side by side. And now I need to figure out. So here is Double Gleam. So pretty. And it's pretty cool toned, but without it being too icy. So I don't love a true white or silver on myself because it just looks a little unnatural on the skin. Here's Show Gold and Double Gleam. And that texture, I love the Extra Dimension formula. It's out of this world, 10 out of 10. And that brings me to my liquid highlighters. So there were a couple of things that just don't fit in here, so I'll start with those. Look at how flat this has gotten. I had this in a Shop My Stash, I think in like October or November, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's not a lot of product in. I feel like this is the only product I still have. So, but it does say, I believe that it has, oh, it does say 10 milliliters. I don't know what's going on with that. It's the Baby Got Glow in Sassy and Silk by Essence. Again, that, shoot, I dislike these applicators so much. So much. Oh, it's clogged. It feels similar to that LA Girl thing where I can feel the air moving in the thing, but I don't see the product coming out. Oh, and I've only used it this last fall. It's completely crusted over. Oh, can I still swatch it for you? A little bit. So you get an idea of the shade. It's pretty, but I feel like I have this shade so many times over in my like powder already. Like it's this goldy, champagne-y sort of thing. Probably don't need it. This is lovely. I want to buy the Glossier Halo Scope in Quartz. I'm not sure whether they still do it though. It seems to have been discontinued, I'm afraid. I'm not sure if it's ever going to come back in stock, but this is very similar to it, I feel. But mine expired last year, so I decluttered it in the wintertime when I did my declutters last year, thinking, oh, I'll just buy a new one. I haven't. But this is the Glass-like highlighter from Catrice. This is the best highlighter that Catrice has done in a hot minute. And this liquid, I'm not really sure what to do with it. Whether it should go, like, because it's just really glowy. And it sort of feels like it can be like that Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter kind of thing. But it is more shiny. This is Silver Lake. The Phase Bond Luminizer in Silver Lake by Urban Decay. And you need to shake it well, because it does separate a little bit. And let me see where it is. I'll pop it here. So I feel like you really only need a little bit with this, but I feel like you can use this as a mix-in or as a highlight. And this is the first time in my life where I found something that is essentially a silver highlight, but that looks so natural because of the liquid, and you can really control how much you use. I love the look of that. So that I think is going to be really pretty under foundation, mixed in with foundation, over foundation. This is a product from Urban Decay I still really wanted to try, but I hadn't been able to find it anywhere. Another really good one, the Glow Fusion highlighter drops from Kiko. This is in shade 2, Sweet Dream. And these are like pinky toned. Pop it down here. I mean, it's a little bit much that I put on the back of my hand, but look at that. It looks pretty peachy when it first goes on, but I feel this doesn't have that cast that some of the other highlighters have with that peachy pink. You can just see it has this really beautiful silvery reflect to it. I only got it this year. This shade I really wanted to try. Every single time I was on the Kiko website, this one was always out of stock, and I understand why. It's gorgeous. I hope this one still works. This is my Villains limited edition one that Catrice did a couple years ago. This is the Maleficent liquid highlighter in Magic. Hope this hasn't clogged. Oh, this one still works. See, and this one spreads out in the little puff rather than it just having a hole, which I really dislike. I am going to wipe it off just in... Oh! Oh no! I was like, I'll just wipe the little puff, and then this happened. I'll just pull it off. I'll just take it off completely. It's really the video where all of my products are starting to fall apart. How fun. Luckily it has a lock. But this is essentially the same shade, I feel, as the Essence, so the fact that the Essence one is clogged, I don't mind, and I actually prefer not having the puff. So there's that. The Essence Drops of Sunshine. These are their highlighting drops. Not sure, I still need to keep this. Ooh, that seems to have separated, even though I did shake it. That's not a good sign. It is pretty, though. But perhaps a little oily. It's gorgeous. Another great liquid highlighter from Kiko. This is from the Stellar Love collection. This was limited edition in shade 1. I'm not sure if this is too similar, though, to the drops I just showed you. Let's see. Yeah, this is a little bit more peachy, but subtle peachy. Speaking of peachy toned highlighters, this is the Rare Beauty in Mesmerize. So I almost bought this one in Enlighten, but I'm now glad that I have this one in the more peachy toned one. Not exactly sure why, but I just like this a little bit better in the peach tone. So see, like it does have a bit of a cast. I didn't blend it out fully though. Let's see if I can work it in a little bit more. See, if you work it into the skin, it actually looks really pretty. And then I have another Kiko one and this Bia stick that I got from YESSTYLE. It was in one of their boxes that they sent me. And this is okay. It's pretty similar again to Halo Quartz by Glossier. Halo Scope in Quartz, I should say. It's really similar to that, but I actually prefer the Catrice one. It's far creamier and it has a better thing. This is the brush thing. This is by Kiko. This is from a limited edition collection. This is the Dreamphoria all-in glow luminizer. And this doesn't have any weird balls or anything. But this is essentially like, ooh, can I show you? I don't love the little brush, but it's white when it comes out. And then it has this really intense sort of pinky gold to it. It's really pretty, but it was limited edition. You can no longer find that. And now I just have a couple of pots, mainly by Sydney Grace and RMS Beauty. So RMS Beauty, this is the Living Luminizer, which I really like, but RMS Beauty is another one of those clean beauty brands. And this is starting to seal over. I already had that issue with their concealer that I've tried, but this is getting really thick, really sticky. I can barely get the product out, and this is already very subtle. Like it's this very glass line, but it's got really sticky. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with that, whether I should keep it or since I now have the Catrice stick thing, I could just use that. Because it gives a similar look as the Catrice stick. And this is one of the reasons why I want to try more RMS, but they're so difficult for me to find. And I've looked, for instance, at their blushes, and they're so warm toned, and I'm like, nothing here is going to work for me. So then I'm like, nah. Sydney Grace, Paradise on Ice. Used it maybe once or twice. It's pretty, but I feel I have this shade of highlighter or a million times over. So it's not very unique. So that's why I don't use it. And it's got such a strong pink base. This is Sugar Cookie. I've used this a little bit more. This is a little bit more of a subtle undertone, I feel. And finally, I have Fair Flush. This is from their newer collection. That's why the packaging is different. And this is a little bit more of that pinky peach vibe that I do like. But I think compared to everything else, oh, that's more of a blush for me. That's more of a blush.